Hello guys and girls, how's it going? Screezilla here, and I hope you're all well. And you join me tonight to chat about Naval Changelog. Yes, Naval News. It is back. Kind of. Yeah, I know it's been a bit of a sort of sinking ship as of late. Naval News, there's not really been much to talk about. Most of it's been pretty dire, in fact. Other than, you know, ships like the Brooklyn coming in, which completely changed the balance of naval power for the game. And the Kirov as well, which, yeah, they're a little bit overpowered compared to some of the other cruisers, the Nuremberg, for instance. But anyway, the big news is sea battles will become more exciting, more interesting, with reduced teams will be supplemented with vessels under AI control with a specified number of participants. Naval arcade battles. Only sessions with BR of 3.7 or above, and 16 versus 16. Naval realistic, 12 versus 12. If a 10v10 player begin realistic mode, 2 free slots, blah blah, you get a ship coming in. So we are basically starting a battle now, so let's jump into that. So we've got AI back in Naval to supplement the teams because Naval is dying. Yeah, at top tier, Naval is pretty much dead because of, well, there's a few things in all honesty, but mainly it's just player numbers. Also, the match length does not make any sense. You know, 30-minute match for a Naval game is a bit on the short side. But getting these AI-controlled ships in naval battles, well, it's kind of there because simply there aren't enough players in naval at the moment, and it's really starting to affect the game because, surprise surprise, you know, no players means that, you know, you don't really get any games. And if you don't get any games, you're kind of a little bit stuck. And it really makes things quite bad. And I'm doing some terrible shooting right here. And I think I'm just going to pause that because I think it's just causing a little bit of... game detect. What are you doing, game? Why aren't you detecting? Refresh. What's going on here? What's working? There we go, we're back. Everything is fine. Nothing happened, everything is fine. Anyway, yeah, basically naval battles are getting AI players in them. And the reason for this is simply because there's not enough real life players for the game mode. Now this has been a thing that's been used in air battles and ground battles and all these other things, and you know, it's a common sort of use when there's been low player numbers, but it's not been sort of employed in naval before. Employed, and the reason for that is because, well, they've had enough players, they think. But really, there's not enough players for naval realistic battles or naval arcade battles these days. And it's kind of a shame because, you know, it really does make the game suffer. Because, you know, you don't have these player numbers, you don't have enough people, and it really affects, you know, the game mode as it is. Cruiser right there. That's very close. Hello there. And it really does affect the game quite a lot, and in a negative way. Because obviously, if you don't get matches, you don't really get to do anything. You can't really get a ship loaded up and, you know, ace a ship and play it if you don't have any players playing the game. So, you know, it kind of doesn't really work out very well. But with this change, it's basically going to make Naval, well, playable again, because you're actually going to get matches. You're not going to be in queues waiting for, 6-7 minutes or so. So it is a good thing in some respects. But in other respects, it's not a good sign for War Thunder's whole naval strategy, because, well, if there aren't players playing, you've got a really big problem, haven't you? Because you need people playing the game, and if you're just going to get matches where it is purely bots v 1 or 2 players, it's just showing that you don't have enough players for your game, and it's a really it's a bit of a dire situation, really, isn't it? And that's the situation Gaijin's found himself in with War Thunder Naval as it currently stands, because there just simply aren't enough players to play the game. And how do you actually play a game when you don't have enough players? You can't. You just simply can't do it. And it just doesn't work. And you can't test anything because, well, how do you test a game with no players? That's it. So it's something that's needed to be added for a long time. But as I say, in the same way, it's problematic because, I think a bomb's coming in. I might be dying right now. Long bomb there. Oh, yeah, there's pretty good bombs. I know they're lethal, so it actually hit me. That's kind of a stroke of luck. But yeah, you can't really play a naval game if there's no players to play against, and that's the sort of area Gaijin's found themselves in at the moment. And, well, what do you do in this case? And what Gaijin's done is they've basically made this this AI sort of player base for us, and as good as that is in some ways, it's bad in other ways, because, as I said, like, when you've got players playing matches, you actually have a little bit more strategy involved. Unfortunately, when you've got AI players playing, for one, the AI is broken in War Thunder, and it simply just doesn't work. It's very, very broken, and you can't really play against it because what do you do against AI players? Because playing against him really isn't much challenge sometimes, and really isn't very intuitive. But the other issue is AI gunners generally have very good accuracy. As you're going to see here with this BTD, our gunners are probably going to be a little bit more accurate, even though I think we've just run out of munitions. So I think we're a bit out of luck here, because we're going to get bombed to buggery. But luckily we have survived that bombing, and hopefully our actual anti-aircraft gunners will start shooting at the plane and actually hit it. There we go, not critical on it. It's going to go down now. Pop that fire out and then we'll be fine. yeah, when you've got sort of AIs, you don't really have much challenge, and as I say, that's where it becomes a little bit problematic, because it's just sort of like, what's the challenge here now? Because, as I say, with AI, it's just, it is very much that thing of, well, you're just going to shoot your guns constantly, and that's it, and that's all that Naval is just pressing down the fire button, and you kind of lose any strategic sort of playing and gameplay to it. So, you know, it's kind of like, well, if it's AI versus AI, which it kind of is with the naval guns, you know, you're just basically fighting battles with AI guns, and a lot of RNG. You know, naval is basically just RNG sort of orientated, which, as I've said in the past, is a bit of a shame, because it is a very interesting and exciting mode. But when you're just playing against bots and things like that, you know, what's the challenge involved in that? You know, is there any challenge involved in that? Other than, you know, maybe not running yourself aground and buggering up your boat, which we're trying to get to see very slowly. I've just been having trouble actually getting to round the corner here. But this is the sort of thing with the AI players. Is like right now you can see that we've been dominating this game a little bit. But what have we really been dominating? We've been shooting at enemy ships with mainly our main guns have been doing a fair bit of damage, but you know, our AI gunners have been doing a lot of damage as well. They've been shooting at lots of things, and well, you know, what's really going on here? What's the you know, when you've got AI gunners and AI, you know, when just basically just using the AI gunners and things like that, you know, it's kind of like, well, you're just AI versus AI, really, aren't you? And it becomes this just game of the game facing itself, because all you're doing is trying to sail a boat into a spot to get it into, say, sea. And what's the skill of that? What are you doing that's, you know, playful and skillful and that, you know, other than trying to shoot something? And we've won the game. Unfortunately, we won't get that kill. But you know, it adds some more vehicles to kill, so you can get some more points, obviously. But that's it. That's all it does, really. And yes, it's good because you get the research done, I guess, because you can actually get games. But you can see all of those AI players in that game. You know, did they really help? Not really. This guy here obviously had a very good game, getting 11 kills. But "11 AI kills" really, it's not really skill based. So you kind of go, oh well, I got 11 AI kills, great, whoop-de-doo-dah. So it's good in a way, but it does show that Naval is sinking. And I've used that term before, but it shows that there is a decline, because there's such a lack of a player base now that the game is essentially having to create sort of false vehicles to let you even play the game. And that's what Naval's become, unfortunately. And you could criticise it being that, well, because of the way the actual fleet tab's lined out, because something like the Isle class and the Flower class, you know, those would be very solid rank 2 vehicles, whereas something like the Fairmile C and stuff like that might be a rank 1, sort of slightly different rank 2 vehicles. Because of this sort of layout, it kind of messes things up a bit, because you don't see, there's no point taking out a Flowers class gunboat, or the corvettes. There's no point taking these things out, because why use them? They're not really any use to you. So you're going to take out your best ships possible, which generally are your destroyers. If you take out a full destroyer set now, you're going to be able to kill a lot of AI destroyers. You can just harvest the AI for them, and you're going to make a lot of points, and you're going to grind through the tree a bit quicker, but you don't really get anything accomplished. So it's kind of like, well, whatever. It's almost a mode of apathy. That's the best way I could put it. But it exists now, it's a thing, and it's something we're going to have. Naval is still in some deep trouble, and I don't mean that as a pun, but it is in deep trouble because there aren't the players that are playing it. Gaijin will release heavy cruisers at some stage soon, and that will get the player numbers up a little bit for a few weeks. Or they'll introduce submarines, and that will get the player numbers up for a few weeks. But like a wave, it's just going to go down again. And that's the big issue, is Naval doesn't have the staying power. It does not have the stopping power or the staying power as ground and air. Obviously helicopters now as well, but helicopters are basically just ground forces. I don't know why they call it ground, it should just be called combined battles. But, with Naval, it is just purely this thing of, well, it's just ship battle, and you could take out some patrol boats and have fun in them, but you're not going to be able to do a huge amount in them, because at the end of the day, if there's 10 AI players in a destroyer, you're probably going to get absolutely schwacked by them, because you're going to get, if they're sailing, say, tribal classes, you've got 6 120mm guns shooting at you in a patrol boat, and as you saw in that last game, it just takes one hit and all of a sudden you're out of the game. And that's the thing with patrol boats, they don't really work when you're fighting these larger cruisers and things like that. And the artillery throwers, like the Project 120, be wrong with the designation, but you know what I mean. It just basically becomes a sort of arbitrary thing, when you've got naval vehicles such as the PR-206 here, with the 30mm automatic cannons. They can just destroy an enemy ship pretty much instantaneously, and the same as the 159 is, you just destroy your enemy so quickly. You don't really, you could just sail this into that area now and just easily take out 10-15 AI players and get some good rewards for it, but you're not really achieving anything. You're just there making up numbers, and that's kind of what Naval's become now, is this meh. It's just there to make up the numbers. There's no real, there doesn't seem to be a future for it at the moment, at least, but hopefully I'll be proven wrong. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this rather dour and depressing video. But I hope you've got the idea of what it's going to do and how it's going to change the meta of the gameplay for Naval. And I will see you all again next time. Bye bye.